Hello, Dagoo. Hello, Flying Squirrel, NFL Chiefs. Hello, Trish. Hello, Gia. Hello, Chewing, Gleeballs, and Rexy. Did anyone identify the currency? Oh, yeah. Got a picture of Saddam Hussein on it. It's like a 2003, I believe, is yes, they have. Let's see. Mourning the passing of my husband in 26 years. He joined Jesus on Friday the 16th. Nora, sending prayers of comfort to you. Hello, Johnny. Hello, CW. Let's see. Good morning. Asking for prayers. My first grandchild was born with complications. He was flown to ICU and is in stable condition. All right, prayer warriors. It is time to get on it. Hello, JoJo, Nana, Charlie, Marley, Chef, Dr. Hera, Sophie, Tinker, Kenneth. Hello, Ms. Baylor. The G Force. Oh, wait, we're the Z Force, right? Usually. Auntie. See, Florida, the unbearably laughing in Florida checking in. I see the boog in charge. Christy, Rick. No, 16 degrees here in South Missouri. I need travel money to go visit. No, I hear you. You do. Look at the crazy weather that is hitting. Probably should have kept, well, I probably have a piece up on it somewhere. You got the perfect storm as it moves from west to east in the southeast. You got all that cold Arctic weather coming down. You got a trough coming up to bring the maybe the biggest snow we've seen since like 88 or 2010. Buckle up, kids. Buckle up. What was that? 1 degree with negative wind chill in southern Michigan, 10 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chill in Goodhart, Michigan. WKW, yeah, gold prices. Look at the rip that is going on. Gold 47.55.50 according to Miles Franklin. Silver at 95.27. Platinum ringing in at 24.64.10. Palladium 18.85.90. Hello, Jabba-Juju. Howdy doodly. Hello, Tim. I just saw you go screaming past Dow down 704. For those that don't know, the Japanese bond market's in the middle of an implosion. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Dreamers Unite. Definitely 100% not me. Just posted, Mark. I just want to ensure it's actually you I've been communicating with on Telegram. No, 100% not been me. Set up a QFS ledger account and download SafePal. I would absolutely 100% never contact you like that. And you can't set up QFS until after it goes, is my understanding. So how in the world would I want you to set up something you can't set up yet? No, that's a scammer. And I have no idea if Dr. Scott's comment was directed at you. You should ask Dr. Scott. Yep, troops leaving Iraq. Two Terrys. I saw the one I've been buckled up, seatbelts worn out. Stan, we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. Trump at the college game, got lots of cheers. Hey, wait, who won? Just kidding. See a lot of excited Hoosiers, folks. Chicken flockers. I even saw a fake video on YouTube that put Militiaman in it. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Radagast, you're probably safer in Rumble. They love playing games. Let's see. North Carolina, January 2000 blizzard, not forecast to dump 2 feet overnight. Couldn't get to Raleigh to work for a week. I got pictures of kids playing in it. It was a good time. It was a good time. Like 18, 19 inches of snow at the house. Is it true that Iraq's sitting on, or the U.S. Treasury is sitting on billions of Iraqi dinar? Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. One point they had 55 trillion and they have been selling off or trading back to Iraq. Davita's birthday. Happy birthday. We do have Lewis Herms joining us today, guys. Let's see, John, tell us again how we're going to be notified. Is the 800 number universal? No. You're not looking for a magic number that is an all-in-one. Everybody in the world gets to use it. At one point, we were told that was a high possibility, but I've had too many banks reach out to me and say they will have their individual numbers and links to set up appointments. 2 different banks told me expressly that they plan on sending their information to Dinar Recap so that they can send it out in their free email newsletter. So if you're worried about getting notified, make certain you go over to Dinar Recap, sign up for email newsletter. Doesn't cost you a dime, not a penny. And that way, if you were like a family member, you were like, long lost cousin, heck, my sister, same thing. I would tell you the exact same thing. They told me specifically. That was one of the ones they named directly. But they said that and news aggregating sites. So probably Intel Chronicle, whatever the sites out there, Judy. I was told I will get information as well. But it's going to take time for me to do it. I have to go. I have to set up. I have to call mods. I have to get a podcast set up. So probably before anybody else can notify you, your best bet's probably dinarrecaps.com. Boom, boom. Jack, yeah, we talked about that yesterday on the Savaya. There's a lot of misdirection going on right now, guys, and it is intentional. Let's see. I got an email from the Nigerian princess. Yeah, 72Z. All I can guess is all that money I sent her must have gotten lost or stolen, so she needed your help too. But that's a joke, folks. Yeah, girl Garrett, what do you guys think? Is the picture with the currency a calm? Because it was enough of one that news outlets, many of them around the world, not just us crazy revaluation freaks that think something's going to happen. A lot of comments on why and why is that important? What does it signify? Hey, Tom's birthday. Happy birthday, Tom. Yeah, everybody's going to be using the clip. Yeah. Just know, unless you see me live on my normal channel, it's not me. Do you think if Iran goes in first basket, will they exchange the 2 million checks? I don't know what to tell you, crazy crone. I think the chances, unless things are very delayed, of Iran in the first basket is exceptionally slim just based on, logic, which still rules the day at the end. Yeah, at least a little. I have 5 Elon Musks and 5 Charlie Wards. I'm popular. You are. What else we got to talk about? Banks and redemption centers, the same thing. Yes. They're the same thing, always have been. A lot of confusion over there. If I say redemption center, I mean you're going to a redeeming bank, a bank facility by a bank that has been trained and can do your currency there instead of putting it in an envelope and sending it off. That's all it means. You're just going to the location that can handle it there instead of the branch that sends it to the other branch. And why a higher rate? One, they desperately want our business. So if they can reach out to us, give us a better exchange rate, meaning lower fees, etc., they get more customers, they get more deposits, keeps them in business. That's how banks make money. They need your money in there. And let's see what else on. We were told many, many years ago that Iraq would have an opportunity on their currency, their portion of currency exchange for oil for dinar, where the US could aggregate that currency and then turn it over time for very cheap oil. About $35 a barrel is what I was always told. So they'll be able to trade it in over time, which will allow Iraq to go at a higher rate, but not have to pay it all out immediately. So it's kind of like revaluation over time, playaway plan for their currency. It's actually very logical, very logical. Allows them to leverage an asset that is in the ground. Girl, Garrett thinks it's calm because they're talking currency. They're very much talking currency and discussing it and looking at it. Why would they still have the old currency if it were useless? Wouldn't they just throw it away? Jade, I was told 90% of Americans will have a redemption center within 50 miles. I mean, just do the logic. If you live, guys, 3 hours from civilization in Montana or North Dakota or something, of course you're not going to have a bank within 50 miles. You already don't have one. So just think through it logically. You're going to have even more choices if you're in Europe because they're used to dealing with multiple currencies all the time. So they have personnel that are already trained to do the job. Mama Bear, the rumor mill spinning fear porn. Yes, it is. Happens in cycles. Just hold on what you have and wait for the official announcement. There you go. And I know the timing sucks. Yeah, but we've been talking about this for 10 years. I'm talking about this for so long. We're going to touch on that one. Oh, my. All right. No, I'm not going to tell you what just made me laugh. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Where are we at? Oh, time wise. Let's get to it. I know you all have lots of questions. I need to whip through these things, so I'll be ready for Lewis. Um, Bustagia, my 2 cents, it's a calm. Saddam currency is on the table, probably since it's currency the U.S. confiscated back in the war. Excellent chance that's the why, Busted Gia. Let's get into it. Daniel, wasn't it said one time that when President Trump leaves the country and the troops leave, we will get paid? Yep, we will leave when we're getting paid or once we've been paid. So that's why I think we very much been paid. So let's talk about that one, Robert. Bed's real. I think they're real. I just think they are awfully delayed as they play games with us. Kirby, what'd you have to say? 15 degrees in Central Virginia. On our way to Tennessee. Had to go get warm. Kirby, it's good to see you guys. Be safe. David, thank you, Mr. Ward Turtle. All right, let's get to some news. Yes. Oh, wait. I did point that one out. The largest solar storm in 2 decades, pounding Earth as we speak. I figured if things really go off the rail and the markets start imploding because of the Japanese bonds, metals, then suddenly we'll see widespread internet outages. So they have to shut down markets. That's just my theory. Just my theory. Let's get to something that needs a news banner, though. Iraq announces full withdrawal of U.S. forces from its federal territory. For all those that get mad at me on the left, say, oh, you need a different source. Zero Hedge isn't a source. Fox isn't a source. Wall Street Journal International isn't a source. They only trust things that come from CNN, NBC, or CBS. Here you go. Iraq announces full withdrawal of U.S. forces. They are taking over the former military positions. After the American withdrawal, Iraqi Interior Minister visits An al-Assad base, where Iraqi coalition is taking control peacefully. It's a transition. It is planned. Or as like Sudani told, or actually we're going to go back to Shabibi, give me safe, give me stable, I'll give you a new dinar. Sudani, we have a plan. We have white reforms. The purpose is to make the dinar the father of the dollar again. Restore it to its former position of glory as the most valuable currency in the world. Now we're going to fast forward to Trump. America's back. Neat hat. Wait, is that signed by an auto pen? With MarkZ. If you'll notice over here, we are looking at Iraqi currencies. Blow ups analysis by many. It appears to be a 2003 note. As they do a bit of a deep dive, as they're discussing, a lot of people think it is a calm. It is. I mean, it's got a lot of chatter going, not just in our world, but in the economic world and the Middle East in general. Shocking and in pictures, Hussein clashes with Trump and Savaya during their meeting. What is going on and what's being prepared for Iraq? We don't know. But we know these are sensitive symbols left over from Saddam's rule. So what does it mean? Lot of guessing right now. Mazur Barzani heads to Davos. He's going to be discussing a lot of things, mostly trying to whip up support for business in northern Iraq. International. That's why I point those things out. It is clear they are no longer playing in a restricted market. I'm turning off the banner just so it's not in my way. Integrity. Iraq has joined all international regional initiatives aimed at confronting corruption. Give me safe, give me stable. We'll give you a new rate. We'll give you international. We'll give you a new dinar. This is their words. And here we talk about it. We have the removal. They are now in charge of themselves and their sovereignty. They have met all of their financial changes, which are huge. They told us in their reforms that that's what they were going to do in 2025 so they could get a new currency. Now we're in 2026. It's time. Those are the big conversations going on in Iraq. On the bond side, I really hoped I'd already have news today, but I got nothing. Brother Steve turned 70 today, Deb. I see that one. I'm going to add him to the list. All right. I see some people asking on the bond side. I just gave that one. Wish I had more for you. I just don't. Groups, Indians, farm, all of it is quiet this morning. Tonight, before I forget, I will have a live tonight with Dr. J. Starting next week, Dr. J will transition to daytimes in that second hour. Robert, bond news tomorrow. I really hope we will have bond news, Robert, this evening. I was hopeful that we might have it for this one. I knew the timing of their meetings would make it a bit of a wish to have it by Tuesday morning, but I feel pretty confident that we'll have some kind of pretty decent update tonight on the bond side. I'll put it in the description, though, so you know before you watch it. When I put up the podcast, you can look. It'll tell you if there is or isn't any bond news, so you guys don't have to watch it if you have a busy schedule this evening. Cindy, I see Brianna turning 29. Your second oldest. Markets don't get. I'm surprised markets look this good. Ooh, SCOTUS not issuing a tariffs decision. Thoughts on copper? My guess is Supreme Court SCOTUS is going to try to avoid any announcement on that until after Davos. Thoughts on copper? How much do you think an ounce of copper will return in 2026? Ron, let me look at that in charts and think that one through, because it's going crazy right now trying to figure out the metals markets. Is copper going to become more than just a industrial metal? And there are a lot of folks believing that it will once again become more than just an industrial metal. Oh, Mark, 7 degrees in P8. Nope. It's running fast now. I'm trying to keep up. Copper sold by the pound. I think that will be changing, though. Copper's just tough to store. Iran announces full withdrawal. Yep, we were talking about that one. We even shared that article. Okay, let's get to it. Speaking of the rumor mill chatter, Trump is thought to be giving the deep state their marching orders, the new world order tomorrow at Davos. I want to read too much into it yet. Okay, Iraq Fully international on the digital side. This one I thought was great. And it really sang home to what shall we call it? The reset crowd, the revaluation crowd, the RV crowd. How to look smart on TV and dumb in history. 9 years ago, Bill Fleckenstein predicted exactly where we would be right now, and he was laughed off of CNBC for it. We're talking about calling it first. When you are a bear and you are calling these changes, we're talking about an Austrian economist that said, hey, look, this is what the fundamentals are. I don't know when it's going to happen, but these are what the fundamentals are. Silver's going to run, gold's going to run, bonds are going to implode. Spelled it all out. Same time I was spelling it out too for especially when I was looking at funding corridors for 2019. Said way back when, probably the first bond market to crack up will be Japan. Maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be here. Don't really care if I miss the first break because they're going to come with QE4, quantitative easing 4. Trade I want to catch is when people wake up to the fact that the central bank strategies are failures. They are arsonists that create the fire. They're not the firemen that put it out, even though they claim to be the latter. Well known as an Austrian economist. I like this one. In his interview, he made 2 key points. He thought Japan would probably be the first bond market to blow up. And 2, he's buying gold and miners, mining stocks, and thought the broader market was unshortable. In other words, they're going to keep throwing money in it, good after bad, until it collapses. Is gold going to 2,000 an ounce? Yeah, he got laughed. He got laughed out of the room for saying gold was going to 2,000. Even made a comment in another interview about silver going to 100, laughed at. And he's got a really good one in here, and I hope I can find it for you. Because it is just epic. Just epic. In a nutshell, it says, or they are talking about that the point being that when you call things early, you might as well have called them wrong because everybody's going to scream at you until it goes. They're going to remember you kindly after, but until then, you're going to be laughed at. You're going to have people tell you how wrong you are. It doesn't matter what the fundamentals say. When you call it early, when you say, hey, this is the most likely, but I don't know the timing, you get land-basted. You get laughed at by all the fear of missing out or the perennial bulls that think there's never going to be anything bad. It's always going to be good. They laugh at you. They tell you how wrong you are because history hasn't proven you right yet. And I thought that one was just great. He's like, look, man, these are just the fundamentals. You laugh at me all you want. Now who's laughing? I just thought that one was important because you guys have seen it. Everybody laughs at you because we picked early, but we picked fundamentals. Let's see, Mark, because metals have gone up, stores are charging over $10 for a 12-pack of soda unless you buy 2, then it goes back to normal price. Dwayne, I wonder where that one is at. Is aluminum running that hard? See, Morrissey, I know exactly how he feels. I've been telling my son for 3 years the silver was going to rise. He said no, his friends told him that they would never happen. Now he sees I was right. It just, when you're early, you can see it. It doesn't matter how right you are. Until it occurs, they're going to call you wrong. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to ridicule you. Jason, so important. We just have to keep our I told you so attitudes at the door. Yes, we do. They don't need a reminder. Maybe they'll listen next time. Take the higher road. It's less traveled. Not much traffic. See somebody celebrating, somebody named Walter. Man, I got to find that quote. Well, you guys can find that quote. I thought it was fantastic. It's almost indistinguishable between being early and wrong, the way they scream at you. Carney's Beijing gambit triggers Trump warning in the form of a big, beautiful map. Trump totally trolling this picture from last year, and he posts it with a USA map all over Greenland, Canada, Cuba, Venezuela. It's all about the pissing match going on between Carney and Trump right now. Trump saying, "Hey, you were just a year or two ago, you were talking about how evil China is, how they want to take over the world, and now you're kissing their butt because you want, I don't know, you want to upset Donald Trump, you want to look strong to Europe." This is exactly why Russia went into the Ukraine, because we kept putting enemies at their borders. Of course, that enemy being us in Europe. But we kept encroaching on their borders, so they had to make a move for their own sovereignty and their own safety. I'm not saying something's going to happen with Canada. It's all going to settle down. There's going to be back and forth. But think about the logic of what Carney is doing. He's taking the bigger dog and he's nipping at its ankles and daring it. Now he's talking about trying to give like parasites or to put another big dog in the same lot with us. It's just not going to end well. As I look at this, it reminds me of the idiocy that went into the slow walk to World War One. It's just like one epic bad political move after another, over and over and over, and they had to see it coming. I don't know if Carney's just that dumb, that cocky, or you pick it. You tell me. Crook, the bee doesn't waste time convincing a fly why honey's better than poop. Yeah, Trump appointing Tony Blair. I did find that one interesting too. So just watching the political maneuvers, we'll see where it falls out. My guess is because of Trump and the art of the deal, he's going to put out the extreme. So he has more negotiating room. Don't read too much into all of the craziness that we're watching right now is what I'm getting at. Do I think the board of peace will take the place of NATO? No. I think the board of peace is really just for that, just for the Palestinian issue. Does something need to change? Yes. DOJ launches a probe after anti-ICE protesters disrupt a church service in Minnesota. Yep, some unprofessionals, most likely. Organized, absolutely. Don Lemming in the room, now facing KKK Act charges on MLK holiday, whipping it up, going to the church. What do you guys think of this one? That's why I put this one out there. I want your opinion, folks. Going into a church service, do you think if it were a bunch of right-wingers going into a mosque and disrupting it, do you think the world would have melted down? Do you think CNN would be out there defending? Do you think CBS would be defending? Do you think anybody would be defending that? Well, of course, I think there probably would be a handful of people defending that either way because it's just the way the world works. But I think that one was definitely a little too far. I think they crossed a line, and I think most of America is pushing back on it. The globalists and the left and the NGOs and the sources, they want this to deteriorate so they can ride it into midterms like they did during the Floyd protests. I don't think it's going to work that way for them this year. I think it's going to devastate support if Trump dials back on some of his Greenland rhetoric. I know now people are gonna be mad at me. No, I'm just telling you the overall mood of the country, guys. I'm not picking you're right or you're wrong. Rosalie, the Dems invented the KKK. They did. Back during the riots, and back in the '60s when they were fire hosing protesters, when they were shooting into crowds, etc. That was the Democrats. They love to spin it the other way, but it's just simply not factual. Read a few of those. Now that was too far. I was like yesterday. I didn't even want to cover it because emotions were too raw to even have that conversation yesterday on what had happened, or at least it was for me. With you, I am curious though on Lewis's take on. We were talking about Don Lemming, the church, the protesters going into the church. Was that a little too far?
I don't pay attention to the lemming. But protesters going into church are a lot too far every day in my book. That should, to me, that should be a sacred space. If you want to protest outside, that's fine, but I think going into the church is ridiculous.
That was a little too far for me. Um, Lots have happened since we had you on last. You want to bring us up to speed with the Herms campaign?
Wow, when you say, oh, here's my microphone, that may help better.
Oh, that'll
So,
help.
when you say a lot has happened, a lot has happened. Wow, so I think there's been two debates since I've been on. There's been an impromptu travel up to Shasta, a press conference up there, and then I did a video on their election machines that's really getting a lot of attention. We put that out yesterday,
I saw
and,
that one.
and that's epic. And then I have a letter that's going to President Trump today that we have signed on by some pretty epic people have signed on to this letter, and it will be in his hands today, latest by Friday. And that is, it's a request I made to do an emergency election order to secure the vote in California for the upcoming election. So a lot has gone on. So we
How
can
would that
start
work?
anywhere. Oh, and let's definitely talk about the $1 billion clawback from the fraudulent California Medicaid spending. That would be a good conversation too. So we got a lot.
Yeah, where do we even want to start on that one?
I know. It's if you'd like, are you familiar with what's going on with the clawback for the in California? They did
I've
the
been paying
invest.
attention. We've covered a little. Folks in chat, don't
Okay.
hesitate, sound off, especially if you have questions for Lewis on this one. The short, a lot of fraud to Medicare, Medicaid. They were paying when they said they were not paying for um, uh, illegal immigrants. They weren't paying for health care with them with their Medicare, Medicaid money coming from the federal government to the state. Now, states allowed to, but they have to pay for it out of their funds, not federal funds. It appears they were using federal funds when they said they weren't in California.
Yeah. So here's what's interesting. So far the investigation has shown that almost 1.4 billion has been found between California, New York, Illinois, Minnesota, Oregon, Washington, District of Columbia, and Colorado to be spent from the federal healthcare funds on illegal immigrants, which is it's illegal. So that sounds like a big deal. It is a big deal, but listen to this. I just named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different areas. And I said 1.4 billion. Well, 1.31 billion of that is from California itself. Think about that. So you have New York, Illinois, Minnesota, Oregon, Washington, District of Columbia, and Colorado. They account for about 84 million. California accounts for 1.3 billion. I've been saying it so many years that the waste, well, I call it now WARF, so people understand. The waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud in California is at levels that people can never imagine. I've been crying this for years. And in February of last year, almost a year ago, I said, pay attention. My calculations are it's probably somewhere around 70, 75% of WARF. And now that looks, I was crazy then, by the way, just so we're very, very clear. This seems to be common, right?
Oh, I've known you for years. You're still crazy.
True, true. I should just wear my
In a
tinfoil
good
hat
way,
all the
man.
time instead of
Right.
this. But I was crazy about a year ago. Oh, Louis, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's 10%. And now the text and the emails and the comments I'm getting is oh, I guess maybe it is 70%. Imagine what we can do if we were only running on reality and not waste, abuse, redundancy, and fraud. California would be golden again. That's the big first thing I'm going to tackle for sure.
In Minnesota, whistleblowers started getting threatened. They would come after them. They would never find another job in any Democrat state, any liberal city, state. They would be ostracized. They would harass and hound their family. So, I mean, I can only assume the same thing happens in California as well.
Yeah, it's kind of sad actually. The more truth you tell, the more people come after you, and the more you get harassed, the more you get threatened, and so on and so forth. And let's think about the consciousness or lack of the people that are doing that. We are working to do what? I'm working to save children from sex slavery. I'm working to secure transparent elections. I'm working to make sure that our food is clean and we're not poisoned, and that we don't have to be forced to put something in our body that we don't want. That's kind of the pillars of what we're doing. And I don't want government to be lying and stealing our money. And I really want to get rid of taxes. That's the premise that I'm working off of. Yet windows gets broken in my vehicle, smashed in, uh, cars get keyed, I get poisoned 2 times, I get a lot of hate, I get accused of being an adrenochrome user and a child trafficker myself. I mean, let's just think about this. So you have some, and I'm not some hero, but you have somebody that's working very hard to really do things better for all of us. Yet the hate and the vitriol from that is flows very heavy. And this is where I believe we're in really a spiritual war, Mark. These are demons at work that are coming after us and attack us. And wow, do we have a lot of work to do? A lot of work to do, because I believe part of what we're going to have to do is healing, and that's hard to heal when people are launching against you for really trying to do the right thing.
Yes, it is. This has been taking a lot of press, especially for those in California. I don't know what the effect has been on your bottom dollar, meaning your grocery stores, goods stores, etc. But hey, Lewis, comments on the independent trucker debacle in California caused by Sacramento.
Well, the challenge is Sacramento is all about control and regulations, right? And you almost can't be successful in California. And I'm going to divert a little bit to farming because I had this long conversation with a farmer yesterday. You almost can't be successful in California unless you're already a large business. And the reason why is because all the regulations that we have to go through, that the truckers have to go through, so on and so forth, are for the large. So, for example, if you're a trucker and you have to equip your vehicles a certain way now, just to travel around California, you can't afford to go into another state or across country because you're competing with somebody with much less regulation. So many of these companies have trucks for in California. They offload at the state border, and then they go ahead and truck across the nation. If you're an independent trucker, you can't do that. Anything going on with the independent truckers and the regulation and the suppression and the fees that they have to pay. I also believe that the independent truckers are under attack, and I think it's on purpose. There's a lot of union influence in regards to some of this stuff, and It's something we have to do. But first and foremost, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to pull back these fake environmental regulations to give them a level playing field. And then we have to pull back a lot of the red tape and the bureaucracy, because many companies have to hire a single person just to flow through paperwork. And imagine if you're an independent trucker, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, think about that one. And that's often how it works. I call it the corpocracy. They pay politicians to pass laws that only they can comply with, or only they can afford to. In other words, the fines are too big for the small business, small for the big one. So it's better for them to do it the wrong way and pay fines than do it the right way. They really do rig the system.
They really do. And they actually pay lobbyists to go put in laws that you would think would affect them negatively, but what it does is it suppresses the little man while they can afford the fees and the fines. You nailed it.
Um, yeah, trucking has been under attack for a long time. Many of you guys know we have so many in the industry in here in this community. You know what you've been under. That the farming industry devastated by political decisions.
So the farming industry is very, it's interesting. And I had some long conversations, and I'm heading on tour starting tomorrow, actually, and we'll be back up north and then Central Valley and talking to a lot of farmers, a lot. I was just at a rice growers convention, or committee, I should say, two of them in one day. So here's the deal, and it's a scary prospect. California farmers cannot compete inside our own state to sell you groceries. Think about that. We can't. So we get many of our groceries, our produce, from Mexico. Why is that? Well, because Mexico doesn't have the fake environmental regulations. They don't have all the paperwork that they have to do. They don't have the bureaucratic BS they don't have to do, and they don't have to pay excessive amounts and beg for water. So there's a huge industry of farmers that are American that are moving their operations to Mexico to grow food to send it back to the United States, when all it would take is us getting rid of the red tape. Exactly what I just said. So a small farmer would have to hire somebody to manage the bureaucracy, somebody to manage all the regulations and fines and fees. That takes 2 or 3 positions for a small farmer. Now, a big, large farmer with 100 employees or 1,000 employees or whatever it is, they can have those 3 positions, no problem. But your small to middle farmer struggles to do that. So they can't even operate. But even the large farmers are having trouble competing because of all the regulations. So well, there's a lot of work to do, but it's not that hard. We roll back the BS environmental regulations, because there's a lot of fake ones there. We roll back the bureaucracy. We cut the red tape, and we need to get farmers paid quicker too. Some farmers wait a year to get a check on something that they produce, and they can go bankrupt easy. One bad rain season, any small problem can affect a farmer. So another thing that we're going to propose, which I think is very, very important, is the government pays for farmers' emergency insurance, because they pay a lot for their emergency insurance. If the government were to pay all of this at once, it would get rid of all that extra paperwork. It would be a blanket insurance that is covered by the government. Now, me as being a constitutional republic type person, normally I wouldn't say pay fees for that, but they're delivering a public service to us, just like a fire department, just like a police department. Creating food for us is a public service. So I believe that we, the government that is run by we, the people, can afford to pay the insurance, by the way, which would be a hyper discounted rate, because you have one entity paying farmers insurance instead of all these farmers taking care of their own. And that would also help farmers tremendously with their cost out. So that's something that we're working on.
I'm seeing some different ones in here. Cosmic, have you heard anything on this front? I know, guys, and some folks are like, "Wait a minute, what does this have to do with California?" California is a huge part of our economy. I do think it's important that a governor of a state still knows what's going on at the federal government because they affect each other. Somebody asking, I heard all the Doge cuts were voted out. Is this true? No, not yet. Schumer made the comment that one of the first things they would do is restore all the Doge cuts if they win the midterms.
I
I
just
mean,
gotta
to me,
laugh
I mean
at
that should be and that's lifted up as pandering to your base is like really whipping up the base. Whoo! Let's restore that fraud. Can't wait to have that fraud back.
that's it's
Oh yeah, so excited about it.
you know what's more amazing than Schumer doing that? That there's actually people that are in his constituency that think that's a good idea. And let's think about that. We think it's a good idea to keep stealing from we the people and letting these crooks and cronies spend our money in places that they have no business spending it. We think that's okay. No, that's not okay. We're going to stop it, and we are super doging California. So let's wait for the hate mail to run on that one.
Oh yeah, big time. This one, somebody saying thoughts on Eric Swalwell apparently not eligible for the fourth ballot due to not living in California. I don't know what's going on this one. I haven't heard any of the hoopla.
Yeah, I've heard it. I'm waiting until it pans out to see what happens. I'm really not concerned about anybody that is or will be running against me. We have such a beautiful platform of what we're doing is we just focus on us and let everybody else do what they want to do. And I believe there are going to be some people dropping out and dropping like flies though before the deadline, which is March 6th.
Oh yeah, a lot of people they'll just do the math and don't have a chance. Let's just call this thing. Um, yeah, a lot of people not talking about the raw. Yeah, are you going to allow raw milk in California? I know it's not quite up to you, but
Well, if I have the ability to, I'll sign that immediately.
See, Wonger birthday. Let me add them to the list. Yeah, accountability. Music, great show, Mark. Thanks, Lewis. Any thoughts on running in Minnesota? I hear they're in the market for a governor.
You have actually Mike Lindell's running in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about Lindell running. I don't know if he really has a shot at it politically, as much as I like him, but he's going to force a lot of good conversations either way. And that's something that people, when you go into politics, even if you don't have a chance of winning, as long as you have an opportunity to force the dialogue or change the dialogue, I think it's important. When I say that, Lewis, I think you have a real shot at this. Sluggo, just that I have personal knowledge on who funded Eric Swalwell in Congress. Sluggo, we might have to put you together with Lewis.
Yeah, let us know. I do know he has an employee that is coming out saying that he's an embezzler right now, so that's going to be interesting to dive into. They've got it. Think about the people that they have running. You have Katie Porter running, Eric Swalwell. In the background with a lot of money just waiting, people may not know this, is Villa Ragosa. Interesting. But all of these are criminals, in my opinion. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see what happens over there.
Yeah, when I look at this and I look at spending, and a lot of people are like, oh yeah, we just as long as we get the Republicans in, we're good, and then they go to not watching. The last 3 months, we racked up a little over $600 billion in debt. For those that aren't doing math, that's 2.5 trillion a year. We're not doing any better under Trump. Even with Doge and these changes, we're still spending way more money than we have.
Yeah, people need to be very, very careful when they say things like, we're going to be so much better with the Republican in office. And I want you to step back for a second. What if, just by happenstance, what if the baddies that control things put up a Democrat and a person that pretends to be Republican, so you have an illusion of choice? So you vote for a Republican that you think is going to take care of you, but their intention was never to take care of you. Their intention is to keep doing what they're doing and just have these fake fights. What if Congress would have these fights in public, but they're having dinner and sleepovers at nights and on the weekends with each other? This is the reality of what's going on. In Congress, you have a bunch of actors. You maybe have four Republicans that are actually working for you. You have an illusion of choice there. This is why I opted in to be on the non-political party, because I understand exactly what the game is, and I'm unwilling to play the game. I do understand that what I'm doing is an education process too in my campaign. This is why I have to work 5 times harder than the other candidates, and it's tiring. I am bush tired. I was up till 2, up at 5 this morning. It is what it is, right? But I'm willing to work for we the people to bring this over the finish line. But you're right. We have an amazing path to victory that other candidates don't have. And starting with authenticity is really, really helping us out. And people are starting to understand in general that the two-party system, which, by the way, Adams, Madison, and Jefferson all warned us against, is not the way it's supposed to be. So it's actually looking really, really well for us right now. In fact, I can tell you, as of next week or the week after that, I believe we're going to see reports come out that in California, the non-political party will now have a higher amount of people in it than the Republicans. Think about that.
That's nationwide, guys. Independents now outnumber Republicans or Democrats, not them combined, but individually. We're down to 20 some percent of Americans are registered as Republican, 20 some percent of Americans are registered as Democrat. It is now independents or non affiliated voters are the largest segment of the voting population in the U.S. now. And so, I
As
mean,
it
we
should
get
be.
two-party system. You can't win if you don't do this. I have said for many, many years that authenticity is going to matter again. And I believe social media, internet, podcasts, this is what allows us to move past the two-party system, because they can spend a fortune. One of the first times we saw this was in Republican primaries in South Carolina, as Lindsey Graham was getting primaried. A guy that spent 1 or 2% of the money forced the Republican Party, GOP, and Graham to spend, tens of millions of dollars more than they ever would have, and made quite a considerable showing. That was like, I knew at that point that we were starting to get to that point that we could cross that, where genuine would start to matter, not who the party tapped, not the political machine that spits them out. We the people. And that's what we're starting to see with this change of news. Why do most people get their news from podcasters? Why do most people get their news from X? They don't go to CBS, NBC. It is changing. And this is like a golden opportunity for Lewis to write it. And we had somebody asking, wait, are you even registered as a candidate yet? I know it is not the normal way you went about it. Can you explain your thought process?
Yeah, well, I am registered as a candidate. I'm listed now on finally on Ballotpedia. They've ignored us for long enough. We're all over the Secretary of State website. We're reported. I believe we're the number 3 or number 4 fundraiser on the conservative side. So yeah, everything is on there. Our FPPC number is on our website. So absolutely. It says NPP though. It's a non-political party. That's the only difference from me and the other guys. I chose not to pick a party, which is great, number one. And number two, it doesn't matter because we have what's called an open or a jungle primary in California. So they can put any 2 people from a non-political, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. It doesn't matter. They can put those through the primary into the general election. So yeah, we are 100% official on every aspect.
And with California's system for how they run and how they do primaries, are you up for a brief description on that? I think that makes it so absolutely clear how doable this path is and why you took this path.
Sure, sure. So let me run through some percentages in this that's going to correlate with what you were saying, and then I'll do that. So just on Fox News, by the way, I think this may have something to do with me calling out conservative fake news in my film Psyop of Silence, because just on Fox News a few days ago, Brett Baer said, if given the opportunity, over 40% of the population would vote independent. He said the words out loud, if given the opportunity, which is indicating that we haven't had the opportunity, right? That's huge. So that's one. Another one is now 67% of all news is generated and read and listened to on social media, not in mainstream media. Number three, talking about the path of victory, which is interesting. 67% of people in 2022 did not vote. Think about that. Did not vote in the gubernatorial election. 67%. All we need is to motivate 5% of that 67% to put us over the top. And here's how that works. We need somewhere about approximately 2.1 million votes total in California to come in the second place in the primary. All you need is second place in the primary. Here's why. It's equal to first place. So it's an open jungle primary, which means any party can vote for anybody they want to in the primary. So I'm probably going to get a lot of Democrat votes, a ton of Republican votes, and a whole bunch of independent voters to vote for me. So that will push us through to the primary. So we just take a little bit of piece from this and this, but we motivate the voters that haven't voted in the last election. And that's huge. And that's our path to victory. It's pretty simple, where the Republicans are going to have to fight it out for their little bits and pieces and hope other people drop out. The Democrats are already destroying themselves. But here's what the best part is. I'm traveling all over the country, all over the state. In fact, we're going back on tour tomorrow, and I'll be on tour for a month straight. In California, what we are learning is California voters are completely disenfranchised with the Democrats and the Republicans, both parties. And it's so I've had reports that the California GOP or people from it have given warnings out to people. And what the warning is, and when I say out to people, they've given warnings to Republican committees not to host me in meetings. Now, why is that important? Why are they so concerned? I'm a conservative, right? So the committees, many of them are finding loopholes. I know one committee brought in a Tea Party to host on their behalf inside their Republican headquarters in a certain city, and we had a resounding result in that city. So there's a massive appetite for this right now, and it's extraordinarily exciting. So our pathway to victory is pretty clear, and I think we're going to do phenomenal. Now it looks like, oh, I thought you froze up there. Sorry.
No. I've been enjoying letting you on a rip. It's been fantastic. Oh, the only time I ever voted Democrat when Rush was Operation Chaos in the primaries with Hillary.
Oh, interesting.
I'm just reading some of these, watching what is going on. This is one of those things to remember. Watching what the new governor in Virginia is doing, ruining years of work, crapping upon all of the citizens that had voted for Youngkin and those changes. No respect for their choices or their thoughts.
Well, isn't that status quo though? That's what we have been seeing is we vote for somebody that gives all the promises. Now, it's fine to give promises, do your best and fail, right? If you're really doing your best to fail, but to give promises that you're going to do something and have no intention of doing it, it's just disgusting. It's misleading. It's lying. I think it should be treasonous, frankly. I can tell you there's a candidate out here now that's really starting to talk about child trafficking, but they have no idea what child trafficking really is, and they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan for it. We're going to fix it. Well, what are you going to fix? They have
Would
no
that be
idea.
Chad?
What's that?
I was gonna name the candidate, but I'll leave those things for people to figure out.
Yep, they'll
Uh,
figure it out.
Wally, what if they cheat? How are you prepared for that?
So, interesting enough, I just put out a video, I think you saw it, of me and Clint Curtis in Shasta to create
Yeah, I definitely shared that one. That one was solid.
Yep, to create transparency in our elections is very easy. And we have a huge push right now in all 57 counties to run the exact same system that he's running. But in addition to that, I have a letter going out to President Trump this week on an emergency election order to secure our elections here. So we are doing everything possible. And on top of that, we kind of have a secret sauce of a way that we're going to be able to prove in specific precincts how many people voted for us and how the cheat was on. So we're fully aware of it. We're prepared like never before. Um, Under the current election protocols, we will not win. Hear that? So you have a candidate telling you the truth. But there's three things that are in play right now. I think at least two, if not three, are going to be implemented, and that will give us close to fairness. At minimal, it should give us transparency, and that's the winning ticket right there. So there's a lot of great things happening in the background right now we're very excited about.
Um, See if I can. I don't know if you've seen another good one that you want to touch on.
Oh, well, there's
The establishment and the establishment period hated Rush all over the country.
well, yeah, you can't be telling the truth. That's the last thing that you can do, right? And uh, it's so funny, with Mr. Gold Microphone. He really positioned himself to support Republicans, but he was also the first one to call them out, and they were very, very frustrated. I'm frustrated that President Trump would cozy up to Lindsey Graham. He's the rhino of all rhinos, but I'm hoping there's a reason for optics, or he's using Lindsey for something, which I think is probably happening. But he's the description of somebody that you would never want to vote for and vote for twice, right? He's a grandstander.
Yeah, how do we approach this one? I've never heard of Lewis, and I live in California. Is it because of she only watches mainstream news, or is there a better way to get the message out?
No, you know what? It's been the number one challenge that we've had. So I'll go into real quick detail on this. So what happens is, and this is one of the reasons why I did the movie Psyop of Silence, right? Because the mainstream media knows about me. In fact, they were emailing me yesterday, right? So the mainstream media knows about me. They refuse to put it up because they're playing the game. Put the two top names on they're always trying to push down your throat. We should really think whoever the media is showing you is probably not who you want to vote for, because they're probably already controlled. So what happens is, for example, we're still not on Wikipedia because Wikipedia is not considering us a real candidate per whatever parameters they have. We've tried. We've got deleted off their account, banned off their account, had somebody else go on. Now he's running into some obstructions. Ballotpedia took 6 months to get us on Ballotpedia. Now we're officially on Ballotpedia. So the obstruction is real. And the reason why you haven't heard much about me is because, this is no exaggeration, I'm the most suppressed person in California. I could prove that. You can go on the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is actually lists me and my organizations 3 times in California as on their hate map. And what that means, and they have a $500 million bank account. What that means is they send out their cronies, and their cronies do their dirty work. And in fact, we're having a forensic person go into our social media again, probably this week or next week, and clean it up, because you'll see all these things attached to my name. He's a racist. He's an anti-Semite, a conspiracy theorist. They got that one right. And he's this. He lies about vaccines. Lie. All of these are sub things that are attached that you and I can't see. But when they forensically go into it, these are all attached to all my social media accounts. So the suppression is real. It's all right. We're going on tour. We just hired a social media team. We just hired a PR team, and we have some other marketers coming on board, 2 other companies coming on board, and we are going to blast, and you're going to see things that you all of a sudden it's going to be Lewis, Lewis, Lewis all over the place in our campaign, because we're working on that very, very, very hard now. We've been waiting for the moment. This is my deal right there. Art of War, right? That's the game we're playing. So we've created the foundation to put us in for success, and now we're gonna blast it pretty hard. So that's the reason why you haven't heard it, but you heard me, but you will hear of me very, very shortly.
Yeah, a lot of folks worried about it's a tough run what you are tackling, but somebody's got to do it. Yeah, food, sleep, security.
Yep. Well, we're going to do the food. That's the good news. Not quite sure about the sleep, although I have a wonderful app that a friend has given me for the sleep, which is incredible. And exercise, security, we're going to be fine there. I think we're going to be in good shape.
Good. As I'm like a two-party system, we could go on and on and on. Ellie, no, Nightbot is AI. It is not a person. It doesn't care less who you are. It's if-then statements. Lewis, do you have any plans for the homeless? Just throwing money at it is, just clearly not working. We can look at San Diego. We can look at San Francisco. We can look at some of the biggest historical mess ups when it comes to dealing with homelessness in world history.
Yeah, so let's look at the word throwing money at it. Well, they're not really throwing money at it. They take 27 or 37 billion dollars, it looks like now, and they're throwing it at their buddies. And none of it is being caught or diverted to help homeless. In fact, homelessness has increased about 30% over the last couple of years with all that money coming in. So our system is very, very simple. We're going to spend the money correctly, but here's the first thing that we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to approach homeless and find out who's a senior and who's a vet. Senior and vets, immediately we're going to take you off the street and give you a place to live. You're going to have a roof over your head, and you're going to have food in your belly, and we'll figure it out from there. That gives us a time to assess them for 90 days and figure out what we're going to do with the seniors and the vets. But they need to come off the streets immediately, right? They've served us, our country, they've served we the people over the years. So that's key one. The other thing we have to do is immediately we have to humanize homelessness. And we haven't done that. We've demonized homelessness like as the homeless are the problem, when it's the system that's created that is often the problem. And go ahead.
And a lot of people need to remember it's when he says it's created them. I don't want to put words in Lewis's mouth, but by not being there for people that are truly in need and enabling folks that don't need, we've turned them into dependents. And that was a plan. When you turn people into dependents, then you get to control them. So there's so many facets to truly fixing homelessness that just it's really easy just to say screw them all, just kick them all out, and you still gotta find your human heart in there somewhere while not enabling poor behavior. So I'm all open to thoughts on that one because we have yet to see a concerted effort, I think, large scale to deal with it, to deal with the whole problem, not just pieces or parts or symptoms.
Yeah, agreed. And that's where I'm going with this. So part one, take care of the vets and the seniors. Part two, we need to humanize the homeless. These are actual people. They have hearts, they have souls, they're wonderful people. Yes, some people may say, oh, there's some NPCs out there. Yes, but we need it. We need to humanize the homeless. And then what we do when we do that, now we have to put them in segments, which is very, very important because you need to treat them different. So do you have some that are out there because they want to be? Maybe yes. Maybe they just want to opt out of the system completely. Okay, that's one segment. Do you have those that are out there because they're addicted to some substance? Yes, that's one. Do you have some that would rather work and do something with their lives? Yes. Do you have some that are being trafficked? Yes. So every single segment needs to be analyzed separately, and we can separately deal with that. Because do you have a large segment that's actually mentally ill? Yes. Is it possible that they should be put into a mental institution, right? Because they're harm to themselves and harm to others. Yes. Not like the old ones, though, where they would pump them with Thorazine and they walk like zombies down the hall. No, we should honor them as humans and do the best to give them care and teach them self-care while keeping them in a home so they can't harm themselves and harm others. That's how you take care of this. The other ones need to go into a rehab center, right? We'll go from there. The ones that really want to work and have the ability to, they need to go through a training program, but let's house them in the meantime. With all of that being said, we have so many empty warehouses in California that we can reconstruct into homeless facilities with food, a roof over their head, and security, so they're not doing bad things on there or harming each other. This is not rocket science to handle the homeless. We have to have the will to do it. And
I think that's important, the will to do it. A lot of people talk about it and they want to point out a problem, but very few want to fix a problem. But plus, it's easier to run on the problem than it is to run on the cure or the fix.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sluggo, Lewis, have you heard of California Republic for the People? We seated the state Saturday in Monterey.
I have several times. I'm working with some people with them. It's interesting because I believe if we're really gonna take care of California, we kind of have to do what President Trump was, and you have to get an insider in there. Because to do what we really want to do, you're never going to get the votes from legislation. You're never going to get that based on what we're doing. I know often there's some factions that want to secede, some factions that want to split California up. A lot of them are great ideas. I've talked to several people. I've talked to Paul Preston in length. I'm meeting some people in a couple of days on some of this stuff. I believe the only way to fix this is from the inside out, currently, unless there is some form of an emergency order that makes California repair itself. But I don't see that coming down the chute anytime soon.
Steve McCork wants to know if there's a link to the PSYOP of silence.
Yeah, it's there's tons of links, but you can just go to my account, screwbiggov.com. I don't know if you played it on your account. Did you, Mark?
I did, but I mean, it would take, I'd have to go through each day and find that link. It'd be an absolute nightmare.
So I think on Rumble, you can just put, in fact, I'm on Rumble now. Let me just check. I believe you can just type it in. It's on about 40 different channels from what I heard. PSYOP.
I was going to say, I'm searching as well.
Yep. Yeah, there's tons of it. You can't miss it. There's pages and pages of it. That's good. A lot of people are I give them the opportunity to re-upload it. It looks like they're doing that.
Oh, yeah. Here we go, folks. I mean, it's like pick one. All I did was go to Rumble, put in PSYOP of Silence by Lewis Herms, and it is all over the place. Yeah, no, there's a lot to be said for this one. On the other side, these states need to stop putting out that if you come to Washington, California, they'll give you anything you want. A lot of states have gone to trolling them. Even Abbott in Texas, DeSantis in Florida saying, you're wrong state. You got to go to California or Washington if you want all the freebies.
Yeah, no, but they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong, but
that's the
how do you
problem.
handle that?
They're not wrong. Well, anything that the governor can do day one, we will freeze and audit. We're going to audit the whole system. We're going to freeze immediately anything that we think needs to be investigated.
Here's a good example. Stephanie, I became homeless back in 21. Landlord sold, tore down whole neighborhood. You needed 3 times the rent in income in order to get a place. I'm on Social Security, survivor's benefits. a lot of people in this housing has just gotten too expensive. California is a very good example of that because it's an extreme. Other parts of the country not as bad, but any place in the US is too expensive in my opinion for the working class.
See, here's the challenge. So, you know what? It's really sad that Hillary Clinton stole the saying "it takes a village" because it really does take a village in many times. She meant it. She decided to take it and twist it as these demons do, right? So back in the day, you would have a village and you would have the seniors were always taken care of because they were honored for the hard work that they put in, the love to their community and the wisdom that they offered. So they were always taken care of. We've thrown the seniors to the wayside as they are a dredge on society. That's the way they're look at them. We need to re-enervate people to understand and appreciate what
Eh,
seniors have done for us. And I believe there should be no unhoused senior whatsoever. And I don't say unhoused as in the woke language. I'm saying specifically, there shouldn't be any senior without a home. And we need to do everything we can. And I'm not into spending money. I got to tell you that. But money in the right places, like taking care of seniors and taking vets, 100%. That's what we need to do. It is ludicrous the way they are handled nowadays.
It's almost like planned obsolescence, like kind of like when Ford spent a fortune to design a brake pad that would wear out because they wouldn't wear out. How do you sell parts if they don't wear out? Cars, they started designing them so the most they would last is 100,000 miles or so. I think that's where we got in society, where if they can't be good consumers and earn money, then this planned obsolescence, it's time to let them fall away so that they don't stick around, is how it feels to me. And that is so just horribly, horribly wrong. Like, I have to ask myself, who raised these people to think that way?
Right. Our seniors need to be honored at the highest level. Thank you for the time that you've put in, and let's take care of you. It's very, very simple. And if the budget is managed properly, we easily have enough to make sure our seniors are taken care of. And the last thing we should do is in every conversation when it comes to a budget, what conversation comes up? Let's extend Social Security out a few more years. Let's reduce Social Security. Why is it the seniors that are always being attacked, right? When they're the most vulnerable.
Or why do we even talk about Social Security being an entitlement?
Right. Exactly. When it's
It's,
unearned.
yeah, that's to me absolutely an insane concept. Now, Lexi, I'm kind of afraid to highlight this one. But said question, last time you're on, you talked about a physician group that was really good at, dealing with those things where cells grow randomly that shouldn't, and bad stuff. Somebody's looking for the name of that physician group. They'd emailed you but didn't get a response yet.
Oh, sorry. Email me again. We'll send it right out to you.
Um,
Put urgent or something in the subject. We'll take care of it.
I'm just reading a few of these today. Finding Dory. Thank you, Mark, for today's show and all. I'm in California. Yeah, if you're in California, these are extra important. If you're anywhere else in the country, we're going to follow. If we can fix it in California, it is going to domino through the rest of the country, and it will quickly. So I'm a very firm believer that Lewis and his campaign is the tip of the spear right now.
Yeah, I without arrogance, I believe we are also. I believe we bust through the white noise. We come out through the fog and doing awesome in this election. I believe where we go, the rest of the country and therefore the world will follow. This is an uprising that people haven't seen before, where we the people are getting together. This is not, and this is why this hat is here. This is not my candidacy. This is we the people. That's who's doing this. I have to give all credit to the people when they put us through and we break through that noise. Now, guess what it's going to do? It's going to motivate a lot more candidates with authenticity that care about the people to step up. It's amazing, Mark. We are in a history changing position right here in California, and it's fun to be in the middle of it and
Yeah,
scary.
It's, I mean, that, worldwide we're at that point. So, and I love it because well, not everybody, but you're seeing folks like Lewis step up and fight the battle. If we're ever going to win as a society, it's not one big war, one big battle that we win. It is many, many individual battles, smaller ones. It's winning become a mayor of a town, become all of those are important. And Lewis is fighting the good fight. Um, yeah, Susan, just I live in California. Mortgage has gone up $300 in the last 2 years on my Social Security, but it's because of taxes, health insurance. The mortgage and rate hadn't changed, but all those other things have changed. And that $300 is devastating on a fixed budget.
And you said the word, it's when it's fixed, that's when it kills you, right? Because your income's not increasing relative to your overtaxation and over regulatory fees and they're not equal. So what happens is you go down and down and down and down. Something that's motivated me is I saw what my father did. So I grew up in some pretty serious poverty as a kid. I was a latchkey kid. My mom was single. She had literally 3 jobs, right? My dad did his best, but he sent her $100 check every month, right? That's it. Now I know that's probably would be more, a lot more now, but it was tough. It was not easy. And I raised myself. And then I moved to my dad when I was 14 and a half, and I saw something that he did that really hurt and stuck with me. Is virtually every day he had a big yellow pad of paper and a pencil, and he would smallly write out, here's what we need to spend on groceries today. We need to spend this on utilities. Oh, we have this miscellaneous issue on a toilet that costs $7.50. And he was breaking down just to get through there. I remember the time he saved so much money when I think it was 9 years old, to buy me, or 11, to buy me a train set, right? And then when I was 14, 15, and 16, I would watch him write these things down. And it was heartbreaking to see him manage, just to see, can he get, at the time, his only joy was he would get the 1 pound bar of Hershey's dark chocolate, or chocolate. And he would put that in the refrigerator, and he would break off a square a day as his treat. That's true poverty, not what some of these other people BS will tell you. And that's what he dealt with. But you know what? He did it like that so I wouldn't have to feel it, right? So I could go to school, and I he did a lot of this in order to position me.
If we could get politicians to think that way in a parental way, that if they can do without, if they cannot spend the big money, then the people that they are supposed to be taking care of can afford better. They can afford to take a couple days off, spend it with their kids. They can afford not to work until 9, 10 p.m. The second job, so that they can go to the kids' sporting event. It's an assault against the family.
Yeah. And well, that's the way we're going to take care of government. Is the government should be a sacrifice for those in office, not a sacrifice for the people that put them in office.
Yeah, always right. Euthanasia is push for seniors. I look at that in Canada, especially where maybe it's just the news stories. Maybe it's not more prevalent than some other areas, but it does. It feels like every other day they're pushing for yet another senior to be euthanized. And it's, what dystopian hell movie did we end up in?
Oh, yeah, and think about it. Think about the game that they play to get you to that point, right? So what they do is your air, your water is poisoned, your meds are poison, which gets you into a place where you can barely hang on. They don't have the money to support themselves, right? They feel pain all day long. So instead of fixing it, it's the same thing with the medical industry. Instead of fixing the root problem, what do? They cut out the issue and try to euthanize the senior. It's upside down world is what it is.
It's bizarro world. Um, let's see. Euthanasia is legal here in Oregon. at 70 and homeless, Gene's like there are days where you wonder, would it be better? And that we have beat people to that level. That to me is, if that doesn't make you tear up a little bit, there's something wrong. You're broken.
It's horrible, and you know what? It's here's where I will go after the billionaires. Our government has failed us, billionaire. You know that. You know the government is failed us, right? So, is there any way for them to step in? Well, I've done some statistics. So, 7 million people die a year of starvation worldwide. 7 million. Do you know how much money it would take to save all 7 million of them? $7 billion. Costs $1,000 a year to keep somebody alive with food. And now you move this into the homeless sector, right? But what happens is governments are run in a way to only support the people that are governing, not the people that are governed. And we need to take that pyramid, just like they did with the nutrition pyramid, and we need to flip it upside down.
Yeah, I did like how Trump, the administration, or I should say RFK, flipped the food pyramid. Mama Bear, it cost me over, referring to $7,000 a month to have dad in an Alzheimer's facility. Many can't afford the care. No, we're paying too much for too little. Renee, former Californian, very interesting. There's a lot to be done.
Yeah, we have the work ahead of us, but we're already doing it now. Just so you know, we're not waiting, and that's why we did the thing in Shasta. That's why we have the election order to President Trump. That's why we have freedom in action, remember your oath, and all the things that we're doing now in the Palisades. All of it is, we're not waiting to get into office to make the change.
Boy, I tell you, here is you want to really drive home that, and Les, I don't think's in California, but just said, I'm 84 and working as a handyman to stay alive, and I'm happy to do it, but socialist insecurity is not enough.
Mhm. Now, I appreciate what Les said there, and he said, happy to do it. I have a question for Les if we have an opportunity. Les, would you rather not be doing it, though? That would be my question if you didn't have to.
Well, my guess is, having observed and kind of known Les for a couple years, on the podcast, just based on comments, Les would probably still be doing handyman stuff, but not for pay. He would be doing it for the neighbor that needed something,
I love that.
the young family down the street. I mean, I've seen comments before, and it just, to me, it feels like that is exactly how Les would handle things. But tell you, sure be nice not to have to live. I mean, because you get at some point where you can't do it, where age just simply, you can't outrun father time yet.
Yep, it's true.
Let's see. Yeah, a lot of folks talking about Hawaii and some of the things that have actually there. Les, actually, I love to work and would not prefer. Yes, you're right, Mark. Yeah. Would not prefer to have to do it for money, but would love to keep doing
Yep,
it as a labor of love to help.
I
And
love it.
that's what we want. I
That
remember
should be exactly the way it is.
when my
Yes.
grandfather retired, he went and helped all the neighbors that needed it, especially if there were a widow whose husband hadn't been able to take care of the farm. He felt like, that's what you did as a Christian and as a good individual. That's what you did. You went and helped them prune the tree, do the yard when they couldn't, help take care of people. We've got to get back there as a society. Got to get back there. How much time do you have, Lewis?
For MarkZ? Oh,
Yeah.
like unlimited.
Some bad jokes and some good ones in here too. My friend's father just did this MAID program in Canada, medical assistance in death. Boy, that is just tough.
You know, the worst part is we explain how you get to that point, but the worst part is these evildoers sell you on how this is the beautiful way to take care of your seniors. when they put him in the position to even consider that in the first place. Talk about dystopian.
Yeah. So whack old people, euthanasia, but allow hardened criminals to stay on death row for 20 plus years. It's
Oh, great point.
a good point.
Yeah.
You just got to be absolutely certain. I feel bad for the folks who are in death row and that don't deserve to be there. Folks before we had the forensic sciences that we have now, those are the ones I feel bad for. And but when there's absolutely no doubt, no question, they've admitted to, why do we keep playing that game? I don't get it.
Yep.
Flying squirrel, need more caffeine. No, I've got to get to work, guys. I've got an appointment in 30 minutes, and it's a drive to get to it. So, that's a good question. Do they allow folks in the MAID program donate organs? Totally has nothing to do with Lewis, but it is curious for me to find out. Lewis, anything you would like to add in conclusion? When are you going to join us again? When's your next appearance, event, podcast?
So I'm on tour. You can go to hermsforcali.com and click on events, and you'll see all the places that I'm heading in the next week, and then we keep piling on to there. In fact, I'm tonight I'm at the Hispanic Republican Club in Thousand Oaks, and then I go on tour right after that. Tons of things coming up, and if you would like to support us, you can
hanging out with Larry Logan tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
Exactly.
in 2 days.
2 days. 2 days. So if whatever you'd like to do, if you want to volunteer or support us through donations, you can do that on the same website. Being back here, Mark, we're going to find the time for you while we're on tour. I'm sure I'll be able to do it. You just connect with me, text me real quick, and we'll let you know what we can do, because I love being here. I appreciate your support, and your very educated and soulful audience is also appreciated.
Oh, they're awesome. Best audience in the world, in my opinion. Don't tell anybody else when you join theirs. Don't tell them that we're your favorite. I mean, there's no need to rub it in. We appreciate you, Lewis. Thank you, guys. Lewis Herms, running for independent governor of California.
Appreciate you, Mark. God bless everybody.
God bless. That was Lewis. I see You Are My Sunshine, adding on to the birthday list, along with Davita, Tom, Steve, Brianna, Walter, Warger or Wonger, Patricia. I saw a few. I didn't get everybody written down. So they tell me it's your birthday. Well, happy birthday, darling. May you live, may you love, may all your dreams come true. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. To all those celebrating, happy birthday. I see Colton jumping in. Impact Jail Canada, I don't think we're going to see our birth certificate money. I've had a lot of people ask that. I can't find anybody in upper levels of this thing that think we're going to. Be neat, though. Be nice. I will be on tonight with Dr. J. Caprietta. There will be a brief news update at 7. Then Dr. J will minister for those that would like to, well, be ministered to. Looking forward to it, mods. Thank you. And I will see you tonight for those that can.